Hello, Galaxy! I'm Chris Pirillo, and you've tuned in to another live advice video. I am live, as I seem to be, and alive! Very happy to report that bit of news. Today's topic that I'd like to dive a little deeper in on is Android launchers, specifically. Now, you're not possibly one of those people who understands what an Android launcher is, so I'll explain that. But first, let me go ahead and set the stage. One, I'm actually sipping espresso this morning. It is a morning. Two, I think I have chosen an Android launcher that fits me. So as I am also prone to say, your top choice, your chop choice may be different from mine. It probably is. My best may not be your best, but I am going to do my best to explain to you why I have chosen one particular Android launcher as my go-to. Let me also say thank you, everybody, for joining me in Discord chat. If you are not a part of Discord chat, this is the core of our community. You can either become a patron at patreon.com/Chris Pirillo. Link is in the video description. Or you can head over to twitch.tv/Chris Pirillo and become a sub. Either way, you can join this Discord chat 24/7. And trust me, there's always something going on in Discord chat. So thank you for joining there. I, for a number of years, had been using iOS. And iOS doesn't have the capability of enabling you to switch launchers. You get an iOS experience that everybody else gets. And I think that is playing to Apple's strengths. They, know that the device that you're using and the software that you're running is stock. It is not something that you can tweak. Some people like that. Some people not so much. Android is almost diametrically opposed to iOS in this regard. In fact, I would go so far as to say that it is. Because like you could back in the day of Windows. Do y'all remember Windows? Remember when Windows was a thing? I remember when Windows was a thing. You could swap out the shell. And I was doing that going all the way back to Windows 3.1. I used something called Plugin for Windows. And the reason why I liked Plugin for Windows is even with Windows 3.1, I could right-click. Couldn't do that with Windows 3.1. I could also change the cursor, which I thought was pretty fantastic. And it had a few other tweaks that I really appreciated. And then Windows 95 came out, and I'm like, bye-bye Plugin. You're kind of useless now. So that is effectively what you can do. A launcher enables you on Android to modify your desktop experience. If we can call this the desktop. Okay, that's not a desktop. This is my desktop. This is what I see when I go to my home screen. So much like on iOS, when you unlock and you get the low battery indicator because you don't use iOS that much anymore. This springboard here on iOS, this is the launcher, if you will. And I know I'm, fudging terms because I don't think anybody on iOS calls that springboard the launcher. I've only known it as the springboard. So there are many launchers out there, countless launchers. Now I'm hopefully successful in having brought you up to speed in terms of what a launcher is. And I tried a few on various devices, going all the way back to, let's see here, the first launcher I ever tried, I think was, on the Nexus 6P. And I found it to be an interesting experience because I could not seem to find a launcher that was suitable for me. No, it wasn't the Nexus 6P. It was the Note 3, the Galaxy Note 3, the Samsung Galaxy 4. It was the Note 4. It was. Now I do remember, because I was trying to eke out as much power and performance from that device, knowing full well that the launcher would be where I would spend the majority of my time, specifically in navigating between apps, having an experience that I appreciated when I looked at my mobile desktop. Can we call it the mobile desktop? Really? Can we do that? And by the way, Cal Lewis 87, thank you for the question. We'll table that question for TLDR. I'll do the TLDR broadcast after this one. The Locker Gnome Daily Report, as we do live every weekday. YouTube.com/LockerGnome. So let's go ahead and focus on launchers. Everyone's got their favorite launcher, and there are new launchers being released seemingly every day. Well, maybe not that frequently. But when I got my Pixel 2 XL, I went to a go-to launcher experience for me. And that was Nova Launcher. Nova Launcher is free-ish. You get the Nova Launcher core for free, but then you can pay to unlock more features, which you should do. And so you can get the Nova Launcher, the separate Nova Launcher app once you paid for it, and then once that's installed, then you've unlocked all the features. It's a little weird in terms of how they executed on that idea, but it's worked out well. So Nova Launcher had been a go-to experience. And so in preparing for getting my Pixel 2 XL, I installed the latest version of Nova Launcher and fiddled with it. And I like a lot of what Nova Launcher provides. It is pretty much a go-to alternative launcher to the launcher that may ship with your device, whether we're talking about a Google device with the Pixel launcher or the Google Now launcher. The OEM that you've decided to go with, if it isn't Google, has its own launcher, and you should be able to modify that out of the box. You're not going to be able to modify every aspect of the Android experience, but I guess I wasn't underwhelmed by the Nova launcher, but I guess in terms of the last time I used it to the time that I tried it again, I just didn't feel like it was going to, blow me away by comparison to what Google was shipping with the Pixel launcher at that time. It does go a long way, and I have no problem with Nova Launcher. Absolutely none. I have no problem with people who like Nova Launcher. But, when I threw it out there, say, hey, which launcher should I try? Of course, Nova Launcher came back. But then a friend basically says that he used Action Launcher. And so I was like, all right, let me see. So the default Action Launcher experience may throw you off because it did me. I'm like, wow, this wasn't designed very well. And then as I dug a little deeper in terms of the features, I found it to be relatively outstanding. And that has been my launcher ever since. So then I got onto Twitter and I was talking about Action Launcher. Turns out, the developer followed me. I followed the developer back. I've been able to file bug reports, make certain requests, and we've gone back and forth. And effectively, I'm very happy to say that I've been able to provide some amount of feedback to help determine the course of the launcher that I use. Not to say that you can't with Nova Launcher. In fact, Nova Launcher's got a fantastic community around it. But I have chosen Action Launcher as the best launcher specifically for Android. He's constantly making modifications. There's a new version out every few weeks. He uses it himself, obviously. The developer, you would expect, would use his own launcher. And what I like about it is that it seems to have done everything I wanted, made it very, very easy, has levels of tweakability that I can't even begin to touch or that I don't even want to touch, from color to layout, and he's continuing to effectively make modifications for it, including widgets. You can use widgets on Android. It's a great way to customize your experience. I prefer to run lean, mean, and clean. So my launcher looks like this. My desktop looks like this. You can't see it because there's nothing there. I like that. I want that. You can't swipe over and get to another screen, but you can, as you can see with these icons up there, these notification icons, you can swipe over and get this quick page, I believe is what it's called. And so I'm able to put widgets and icons off to the side without sliding over to a separate page. I only have one page. There's nothing to the right of it, or I should say to the left of it, although you can set it up to have a quick list of apps. So instead of swiping up, which I've made custom so that I can swipe up from the middle of the screen or swipe down. You don't have to swipe up just from the app drawer, and I have nothing down there. I can also swipe down to pull down notifications from anywhere on the screen. And you may be wondering, well, wait a minute, what about that Google Now experience or that Google app experience? You can install the APK. I choose not to because you don't go through the App Store, and I'd rather go through the App Store and not run any apps or sideload any apps, if that's the correct terminology. But what I have is the ability to change what double tapping the desktop does. So I have it launch the Google app by doing that. You can also double tap in other areas or configure double taps in other areas. In the bar where normally your persistent icons would stick across the screen, like if I was able to swipe screens, I can have widgets. So I've opted to place my date widget up there, date and not the time, because the time's right there, so date and time are up there. Down here is a weather widget. Just a very clean, simple weather widget. I can get the Zeitgeist, like, okay, it's 42 degrees right now. I'm using the app that many of you had recommended for weather, although I hope that with the pending update of Action Launcher, we'll have new weather options. Not that I'm going to spoil anything, because I don't know, I'm not the developer. But then off to the side, I've got the weather forecast, my calendar, the month calendar, and then some shortcuts for new stuff, including being able to tap, which you can set a shortcut for, to check for updates on any application. So by using this, in this particular layout, it's been efficient, it's been speedy, it's been everything I've needed and wanted in a launcher. And more importantly, if I want something, I can talk directly to the developer. You can talk directly to the developer. Action Launcher is the best launcher that I tried, and I did try a few, including Nova Launcher on my Pixel 2 XL. I find myself constantly floating back to Action Launcher for its simplicity, floating back to Action Launcher because the developer is responsive, and that he's constantly releasing new versions and listening to the community and what they want. So that is why I have this particular Action Launcher. This is why I choose Action Launcher as my launcher. And I know there are tons of them. There are tons of them out there. I'm not saying that's the only one. I'm not. I'm also going to say hello to Vaughn Goy. Thank you for the super chat. I believe the first super chat of today. If you have any questions, you want to do a certain shout out to your favorite launcher, it's a great way of doing it. Super chats while we're live. JSal1993 says, loving your content, Chris. Well, I love you in return, and I say that every day. I make sure I say that because I think it's very important to say. Someone brought up, what about Microsoft Launcher? Yeah. There's actually a third-party non-Microsoft launcher, but a third-party launcher that will make your Android desktop experience, your home screen experience, look a lot like the Windows Phone experience with the live tiles and the tiles and everything. That's kind of neat. It was neat, but that was it. It was neat, but I never really got into that type of, let me make sure I scroll back down in Discord. I never got into that apart from, okay, I'm using a Windows Phone. If you like the Windows Phone experience, a great way to effectively have it on your Android device is to use that launcher. Its name eludes me. Unfortunately, it's not the Microsoft launcher because Microsoft has their own launcher. I think Microsoft needs to go a little further, and they probably will with the Android experience. I've made my thoughts public on that, at least at certain points in the past. Mubs1001 says, things like programmable gestures are so efficient. Oh, yeah. You don't realize just how... What have I said? You don't realize how bad something is, iOS, until you've used something really good, like an Android experience on Android 8.1 Beta 2, the latest version, with a launcher that suits your needs. And programmable gestures are incredibly helpful. In fact, I had, like, so many gestures, I'm like, I can't keep track of this. In fact, I forgot to tell you, for me to pull up settings, I simply swipe down with two fingers and I pull up system settings, or I swipe up, because I had effectively confused. I had one gesture down and one up, but I kept confusing the two, so I just eliminated the second option and made swipe up or swipe down with two fingers pull up the system settings. So getting to something that I need to get to without going to the icon. What have I said? Android has made me far more efficient as a user than iOS. So I believe there's a benefit to the way Apple does it, not slagging Apple. I think it would be amazing to see Apple embrace the idea of third-party launchers. I think that could potentially reinvigorate my interest in what iOS could provide. because you don't realize how long in the tooth something old is until you've used something new. So if you don't like the Android experience that you've had, my recommendation is try a different launcher. If you've never tried Android launcher, or I'm sorry, Action Launcher, get past the start screens, modify it, and I think you may actually appreciate what it provides. Mark Gibb notes here in Discord chat, launchers will work better with the Pixel with Android, say with the Samsung device. TouchWiz is still in the background. It is. So because Pixel Launcher is lightweight, your phone will run better. Indeed. I was able to not have to use, I've got my Google search bar widget down at the bottom. It's not perfect, but it does work. And I say it's not perfect because when I tap it, the nav bar, I think this is the nav bar. That's the notification bar. The nav bar flashes white. That's a bug I need to report to Chris. He'll fix it too. He's going to see it. I can almost guarantee he will fix that visual bug. Because it shouldn't, when I tap that, it should not flash down there. And if it does, then it's possibly indicating that I'm going to need to use a different widget in that particular space, because that would annoy me. That's really. Hang on. Got a really good comment. Let's see here. The phenomenal saying from you I like the most was, the interesting thing about tech is not about hardware, it's about software, which is true, that no one realizes yet. Oh, I beg to differ. I think people are starting to get that concept, but it's very much true. It's not the block that I'm holding on to, it's what the block can do, and that's largely unlocked with software. Yes, when you're in Discord chat, make sure you @ Chris Pirillo. Make sure you do that on Twitter too, because otherwise I may not catch it. And I know that, like I said, this is going to be very, very controversial, but it's a very big thing. It's a very useful thing, changing your launcher. He's forgetting to mention the fact that when he used, I used launcher for quite a while. I even talked about it quite a bit in previous videos. Yes, Speeding Cheetah, you remember. I did use the lawn chair launcher and was inclined to use it as a go-to until I used Action Launcher. Lawn chair is still, to my knowledge, in beta, like pre-release. I like where it's going, but I'm looking for something that's a little more stable, tried and true, where the developer is effectively working on the value of that launcher, as I'm sure every launcher developer is, but it left a lot to be desired. It really, genuinely did. Cal Lewis 87 has just moved from the Galaxy S8 to the Pixel 2 XL. I do quite like the Pixel launcher, but can see why people would be inclined to use a launcher. Just offers that extra customization. Yeah, I've gone back and forth between the Pixel launcher, and I stopped because there are certain things that I don't want. Personally, I don't want icons on the screen. When I need icons, I can slide over here. I can pull open a menu. In fact, I can even swipe on a menu. You got to see this. This is a little feature here. We'll go and we'll drag this shortcut to the web browser here. I can swipe on that web browser icon and pull up like a quick widget. So I'm able to just swipe, not tap, because if I tap, it'll launch. It launches the web browser. I was looking at Star Wars deals online. I've been updating my wish list. So if I swipe on certain icons that have widgets, I've got my mobile bookmarks that I can access directly from here, just by swiping. So it's a nice little thing. I think it's called Shutter. That's the feature, called Shutter. So just a different gesture would enable me to do, something different. I don't keep a lot of icons on the screen. Like, this is my shortcut menu here, is like if I want to make just jump into making a new list in Keep, I can do that. If I want to jump in and set a new tweet, I can do that. Instead of having to navigate to the menu, the most recently used app, for Flamingo. Flamingo I don't want to get into Twitter clients. It's suffering from some really nasty performance issue, and unfortunately, I'm not sure if the developer is going to fix it. Liz reminds you, head over to go.tagjag.com/free points if you are so inclined to earn gift cards on your favorite platforms or your favorite stores. It's how we've paid for groceries, by and large. By the way, before I forget about the wish list, let me go ahead and thank whoever sent this gift to me. This piece of paper was sent to me as a gift. No, not just this piece of paper, but yesterday I went to the mailbox and someone out there sent me the Bic multicolored pen, the ball pen, the Yoda one. I love this. I did a blog post eons ago. I had, when I was a kid, a fascination with the multicolored pen. It was amazing. I was only like, what, $3 at the time. I couldn't remember how much this thing cost, but I thought it was so amazing. You had 4 colors in one pen. This thing I love. This is not the one I had as a kid, but this Yoda Bic pen was on my wish list. It will now replace this blue. Who wants a blue Bic pen? Multicolored Bic pen. The most amazing thing. So thank you to whoever sent it. I did not get a name on there to give credit. I kind of wish I would have been able to save it in the packaging with Darth Vader on it, but it was a little kind of crumply. So I just decided to open it and click away. And of course, as soon as my daughter Jedi saw it, she wanted one too. So I updated her wish list as well. I don't know if I put the pin on there. Deuces Wild. Would you agree the recent jump in phone prices has made people become more software conscious as opposed to hardware conscious? Deuces, that is an amazing question. Let's go ahead and table that, though. I know I realize I kind of went off course there with the wish list, but I did mention it when I was showing you the shutter feature of my launcher. Let's table it as well for TLDR. I would certainly appreciate that. Marble Dash. Hey, Marble. Hello. How you doing, Marble? You know, I gotta tell you, Marble, I don't know if I know a lot of bronies, but now I gotta tell you, I love you so much. I love everybody. I love you so much that when I'm out and about and I see ponies, you're the person I think of. I'm just telling you, man. I know. Is it Rainbow Dash? I know enough to be dangerous. I only have 2 My Little Ponies. A little aside, since he did a rather nice super chat, I have Dr. Hooves and Cheese Sandwich. Dr. Hooves, obviously Doctor Who, and Cheese Sandwich was voiced by none other than Weird Al Yankovic. Those are the only 2 My Little Ponies that I've chosen to have. Maybe there will be a My Little Pony launcher at some point in the future. I will probably not be using that. I'm not a brony. Absolutely. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I'm not sure if we've got too many other people mentioning other launchers that they're using. It seems that Nova seems to be the go-to for a lot of people, but my recommendation is Action Launcher. That's the best. Someone says Locker Gnome Launcher. Yeah, you know, if I was a developer, I don't know if I would go for... The launcher space is pretty crowded. I'm not sure what I would be able to bring to a launcher experience that someone else hasn't already. And you know, like I said, everybody's going to be different. Every single person is going to be different. The average person has no interest in customizing their phone launchers or for us nerds. Well, Mubs 1001, I disagree. I hear you and I understand you, but I disagree. I'll go back to my plugin for Windows scenario that I mentioned. Back in the day of Windows 3.1, you know, I know everybody had, you know, the shell, the Explorer shell in Windows, but I would install plugin for Windows on their machines, and they would love them. They would love that experience. So I just think that the people who've never heard of a launcher could be introduced to that idea and be potentially happier with what they have. Granted, not a lot of people are going to go through and tweak as much as the nerds might, but when they see what it is that I'm doing, and they can be told, look, you can do the same thing on your device, you just need to install this, they'll be inclined to do it. So it's not that they see an app in the App Store and they don't want to install it, it's they don't realize, the average person doesn't realize just what kind of power can be unlocked. All the more reason that when someone tells me, well, I tried Android and it wasn't good. Well, which version of Android did you try? On what phone? With what launcher? Like, there's so many variations at play, which again speaks to the power and promise of what Apple provides with iOS. Everybody gets the same thing. With Android, though, if you're going to pull yourself even deeper into what it provides, you really owe it to yourself to potentially try a different launcher than the one that you have installed by default. It's another one here that I'm seeing. It just popped up. Eevee Launcher says someone seems to have more potential, but Nova is still your launcher of choice. Okay, that's fair. ADW2 Launcher is amazing, super smooth, and tons of options. I tried it. I can't say I liked it any more than the launcher or the Action Launcher that I've found. And I like I said, I've been there. I've tried. Everyone's got it's like you got to find the right shirt that suits you. You got to find the right fandom. You got to find the right phone, and it's going to be different for everybody. Let's see here. Google sends you a notification you're live 20 minutes after you start streaming. Charlie, tell me about it. But I tell you something else as we begin to wind down. I'm going to move the live stream over to youtube.com/lockergnome, and after that, youtube.com/creatoradvocate. Links are in the video description. More live videos to come today. Check out the new community tab on YouTube. I can use it. I posted an animated GIF last night. We're going to be posting daily updates there. It seems that the morning crew is a little more vibrant than the evening crew. So TLDR, and these live videos in the Chris Pirillo channel may very well stay in the morning, as long as that happens to stay true. I've ordered the Pixel 2 XL twice and returned it twice. Wow. Absolutely loved the stock launcher experience, but missed a lot of the incorporated features from my Samsung S8 Plus, so I now use the Google Pixel 2 launcher on my S8 Plus, and it works great. Best of both worlds. To a certain degree. I mean, it's like I've said before, with these feature-driven devices, you're going to get a lot of the features in let's say an alternative to what Google provides with the Pixel, but you may lose a bit of performance in the process. And I'm very much performance-driven. Unfortunately, the only way to get performance is by running lean, mean, and clean with Android. And you can't escape that when you're using a lot of the what the OEMs might provide within their Android experience. Any recommendations you have for launchers? Because I'm seeing quite a bit of feedback here in comments. Post to their respective communities, or post to the developer. You never know if they're going to respond, and hopefully they do. My recommendation for any kind of launcher, or any software really, is go to the ones that are updated frequently, that you can file bug reports for, that have a support system, that have developers or a developer team that's responsive. I think that it's critical, because these are the apps, or these are the software experiences that you have. And that it's very, very, very important to me. It's a dictate to me in terms of what I use and what I want to use, more so than features. It's a huge driver, just getting a responsiveness from the developer. Someone mentions that they tried using an icon pack, simple way of effectively, if your launcher supports it, to a simple way of modifying icons. So, for example, if I wanted to change the icon for a particular app, I could do it. I could, and I don't really, oops, that's not what I meant to do. I don't do it a lot. I know a lot of people love doing it, but like if I wanted to change the desktop icon here, I could simply tap and hold like a little pencil icon. I could go through and I can change it from a shutter to a shortcut. I can change to a custom icon, or choose an icon suggestion. You can effectively make all the icons look the same, have the same theme. In terms of theme, like they could all be red, they could all be white, they could all be monochromatic. Icon packs, if your launcher supports it, can effectively help you make that experience even more to your liking. I don't have an icon pack specifically for the Action Launcher app drawer experience. I guess I haven't felt the need to. I haven't really seen a lot of themes that I thought I would use on a regular basis, or would want to use. Everyone's going to be different, though. Everyone's going to have, or want a level of granularity in terms of controlling what an icon looks like. But an icon pack can be another value, specifically for you. And this is, again, something that not every launcher may be able to support as well as other launchers. But icon packs are usually pretty well supported by a variety of launchers out there. When talking about launchers, how can you not talk about icon packs? Well, okay, I just did. But so your best launcher may be different from my best launcher. Your value for an icon pack may be different from my value. And I feel that, it's nice, but I don't know. I guess I haven't been won over by it. Seeing adaptive icons being embraced, within Android, has worked well enough for me. I don't need every icon to be a complete circle. I don't need every icon to be, icon with rounded corners or squares. But maybe, on a whim, if a certain style or a style of a pack comes along that I want, yeah, I can install that. and I'd be fine with that. You can as well. I'm not sitting here telling you make your phone look like mine. The value of a launcher is that you can make it look like yours. I'm telling you, man. Someone said, try the Microsoft launcher. Already have. You may be late here. I agree about the performance decrease with the launcher, but while I had the Pixel 2 XL, ran side by side with the S8 Plus running the Pixel 2 launcher, and the S8 Plus was only slower by half a second up to 2 seconds. Well, no, it's not that. It's not in terms of launcher performance. It's system performance. It's cruft. It's app rot, effectively. I can't remember which Android blog had written this up, but better describing this situation as it plays out. You can't escape the system-wide modifications that an OEM makes. You can replace the launcher, but that only takes you so far. You can't replace everything. It doesn't work that way. Maybe at some point in the future, with hardware being fast enough, we'll see a law of diminishing returns on a lot of this stuff. But hopefully, over time, every piece of software that you use becomes more and more efficient. Let me put it this way. I know my launcher is so efficient that even if it takes up a majority of the CPU cycles for a day, I'm still able to get through to the end of the day with not full battery, but well more than enough battery. The battery on this device has been amazing. And I'd say that the launcher was certainly a part of that, because the launcher is what's used to launch apps, which I do all the time. When I've unlocked the device, there's the launcher. Bam. It's not been unstable. Maybe I've had, a few random crashes, but it cleans up pretty easily. It generally works and gets out of my way. That's what I want a launcher to do. We have another super chat. Thank you very much. Water SA77. Have you had any performance issues with the Action Launcher? Tried it, but my Pixel 2 XL was running slow, and I saw AL was using 1.5 gigabytes of RAM, so I uninstalled. Wow. No, I don't think that has ever been the case. It may be something that I could look more deeply into. It has, like I said, I haven't had any problems with that, and if I did, I would certainly report it. Have you reported that to the developer? I go back to saying that as well. That's something that you definitely have to. You have. Oh wait, hang on. Someone else mentions it. I'd like Action Launcher if it wasn't a stutter-ridden bug fest. Every time, every phone you've tried? Really? I guess I don't see it. And you know me when it comes to stutter and lag. It hasn't been a problem at all. And he's constantly updating it, like I said. So if you file a bug report, you never really know. We should be able to set a system-wide theme, like changing Samsung UI. Yeah, I agree, Mubs 1001, in terms of the way it should be. Maybe the next version of Android would allow for something like that. I know you could do something like Substratum for theming, although even that right now is still kind of a wonky workaround. I don't think the average person is necessarily going to do that. But maybe at some point in the future that will be possible. Maybe. But I don't know if OEMs would like that, because then again, they want to provide you their experience. They don't want you to have your experience on their device. Launchers exist, and I think that's as far as I think we're going to be able to get within the world or the realm of Android. I feel that, we've kind of played this out in terms of talking about launchers. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, offering your suggestions. Thank you for super chatting. Thank you for joining. We'll see you here in a couple of minutes. YouTube.com/lockerroom. Links in the video description. I love you. I appreciate you. At this point, I'm going to leave you to your own devices and launchers. May the Force be with you.